So it's unique for a private company to own a stretch of water like that, and to have the opportunity to try to put it back to more of a natural state is something you don't see very often.
A.J. Prichard discovered gold in Prichard Creek in the early 1800s. The Prichard Creek area is known as the last great gold rush of the lower 48. There was gold found up here in the Murray area, so Murray stayed. Here we are today. It's a town of 5,000 back in the 1880s, and now we're down to residents here now. I think we're like at 35.
So I'm Alan Harper, and I'm the resource manager at Idaho Forest Group. Prichard Creek has about an 11-mile stretch that we have ownership of. Back at the turn of the century, it was really heavily mined, and pretty much the whole creek bed was turned upside down. They try to remove whatever minerals they could find, and then all of the cobble, the bigger rocks and stuff, were piled, in piles outside the creek bed.
It's like something I've never seen before. The biggest and most obvious impact is the creek goes subsurface for about 3-mile stretch in the summertime every summer.
We use a term called the 4 C's: clean, cold, connected, and complex. For trout, you need to have clean, cold water, but it also needs to be connected, and that's what's been disrupted in Prichard Creek is use of the channel is prohibited by the mining impacts.
By having a healthy forest up there, it's going to reduce the sediment flow that you would have in a poorly managed forest. Good forest management will allow for good water quality that flows out of those draws into Prichard Creek. And then a healthy forest that isn't full of dying trees will be less susceptible to catastrophic wildfires.
Stopping further degradation of this creek is the most important thing that anybody can do for it. The threat of mining and the threat of development are large, and both of those have potential to impact the temperature of the water coming out of that creek and entering the North Fork of the Coeur d'Alene. People love the historic element of it. They love the mounds, and that would probably be lost eventually. And then also people like to recreate there. It's a great fishing habitat.
There's a lot of history in Prichard Creek, and I'd hate to see it ever touched, ever changed, to look like what you see coming up the North Fork of the Coeur d'Alene, RV City.
The unique aspect of the Prichard Creek project, as is proposed by Idaho Forest Group, is to also address restoration of the stream itself, putting it into the conservation easement and allowing public access.
But also maintains the opportunity to continue to harvest timber in a responsible way. That's good from a job standpoint and good from a local economy standpoint, and done right, it contributes to a system that can support a lot of other amenities that we all value, like fish and wildlife and clean water.
We kind of like to bill ourselves as more of a conservation timber company. We're supplying sustainable building material for our country, and we're trying to do it in a sustainable way that's got as general impact on the ground as possible.
IFG is doing the right thing, and I love that. It's really neat, and as people break it down and they realize that, I think it just gives people hope about the world, It just feels right, like we're giving back to the resource we depend on, and that's exciting stuff. I think it's one of the coolest things I've ever had the opportunity to be a part of.